Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session on the Dutch workplace culture. I'm very happy to see that you're all joining. Let me quickly introduce ourselves. I'm here together with my colleague, Michelle. My name is Dionysia Lauman. It's a very difficult first name. People do call me Dio. I've been working for Saxion University, I guess, for quite some time already, 17 years, and I'm mainly involved in career services and international office. So we mainly focus on the international student or the international potential student who would like to join Saxion. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Michela. I work with Dio within the Career Services department and also well-being as well. And I'm also a recent graduate. I graduated at Saxion with my master's. Nice to meet you all.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and we'll we just introduced ourselves, and now we're going to inform you a little bit about how the session works. Like I said, we're both working for Career Services. Michelle, what does Career Services do? Can you maybe take us through?
Yes, so the Career Services, basically within Saxion, we guide and give tips and tops to students in regards to their careers. For example, trying to look at the CV to give you tips on how to improve your CV if you're looking for an internship or a part-time job. And we also give you career guidance through appointments as well. So that's mainly our main focus, to give you tips and tops. We don't tell you what to do, we just give you guidance and advice.
Yeah, so true. So we will not give you a job, but we will help you to get a side job or to prepare yourself for your life after you're done studying. Well, do you know the ground rules of Dutch work/study etiquette? I think we're all here with an international background. Maybe you're willing to share where you're coming from. You can do so in the chat. So maybe you can write down your nationality or the country where you're living. That would be nice for us to know. I'm Dutch. I've been living in the Netherlands my whole life. Of course, I did an internship abroad. I traveled abroad. I've been working with a lot of international students, but basically my ground rule is Dutch. Mitchie, how about yours?
Yes, I am from Zimbabwe, born and raised, and came to the Netherlands for study for both my bachelor's and my master's.
Perfect. Kelechi, I'm very sorry. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You're from Nigeria. Nice. So you're from the African continent. Morocco, I see. Adam, you're from Morocco. Emilia, where are you from? Lithuania. Nice. And I think we have one other student in Adam. You are, no, who else is? Herman, are you still there? Can you maybe, thank you. Can you maybe share where you are from? And we see another student who just popped in and left again. Okay. Well, nice. Different backgrounds, I guess also maybe different genders as well. That might also make a difference. In case you have questions during this session, you can just put them in the chats. Of course, you can also open your mic in case there's a possibility to do so. And we're very willing to answer the questions you might have. Well, what are we going to do? We prepared a small quiz for you. And each time we raise a question about a specific situation in the Netherlands in the poll, and then you can share a yes or no. And then maybe afterwards we will elaborate a little bit on it. So let's go ahead with the very first. Well, I think we already went through this. This is about everything we do for Career Services. The first question, the first statement. Is it acceptable to come 5 minutes later for your class, meeting, or appointment in the Netherlands? What do you all think? You can open the poll. There's the chat, and next to the chat there's the poll question, and then you see a poll popping up, and it says, is it acceptable to come 5 minutes late for your class, meeting, or appointment? And then you can click either yes or no. Can you maybe try if you can see it? If it doesn't work, then we'll put it in the chat.
Yes, I see votes.
Did somebody vote already? Yeah, perfect. How many votes do we have? 2, 3. Okay. Let's wait a little bit. I think people are still making up their minds and switching the votes. And how does it look like?
Perfect.
Can you say
A good
what
balance.
A good balance? What does it say?
2 for no, 2 for yes.
And the answer in the Netherlands, is it acceptable to come 5 minutes later for your class meeting or appointment? The answer is no. We are very strict concerning time. So that means coming 5 minutes later for class, for a meeting or appointment is not really acceptable unless you encountered something. For instance, you're traveling with public transportation and your train is running late. At that moment, you can send a message to your teacher, to your team leader, to your colleague and mention, hey, I'm running late a little bit. And then it's, of course, no problem. But if the weather is bad and you decided to leave home a bit later without informing anybody, then it's not really appropriate to come 5 minutes late for your class or appointment or meeting. Did you encounter something like that, Michelle, during maybe the time you were a student or working here?
Yes, I did. Being on time is very important because I come from Zimbabwe. So normally when you meet someone or make an appointment and they tell you to come at 2 o'clock, you know that they mean at 3. So, and for example, for some events, you do not come on time, you come a little bit later. So, of course, that was a huge culture shock to get used to being on time, especially, for example, when you're using public transport. The trains will not leave later, they will leave on time. So that's something that you need to take into account as an international student to be on time within the Dutch context.
True. So it doesn't matter if you're here as a guest, as a student, if you're working here in the Netherlands, we're very punctual when it comes to appointments. It can even mean that if I want to meet up with one of my friends, we're very strict with scheduling this. I could open my agenda and maybe in 3 months' time, I will have an appointment or a small get-together with friends. And it might be that I will not be speaking to them over the time. And then when the date comes there, when the time comes there, everybody just pops up and everybody shows up. So that's how life works in the Netherlands. So we're quite strict and punctual. So good for you to know. Let's go to the next statements. You can always share your opinion with a colleague or a teacher.
2, 3, 4, yes.
Okay.
We'll wait for 1 more minute.
Yeah, just give it a little bit of time. Maybe people change their minds.
Okay.
So what was the results?
3, 4, yes.
So everybody said yes. And indeed, it is the correct answer. You can always share your opinion when you're in class and the teacher is giving you a lesson or teaching you a lesson. They would even ask you to be critical and not just listen and sit back and write down notes, but they will ask you for feedback, and you can even give critical feedback. I think the same goes for working with colleagues. They are very open to your opinion and your feedback. So don't feel afraid whenever you're coming to the Netherlands and a teacher tells you, well, maybe you should have done things a bit different, it's not to criticize you, it is to help you to improve. Do you have examples for this one?
I think it's very common, for example, of course, for international students, when you're studying or working in the Netherlands, it might be quite a huge step or a small step to get comfortable to share your opinion, but it's very normal. In Zimbabwe, for example, there's like a huge hierarchy. So talking to your boss or talking to your colleague or talking to a teacher, there's quite a distance. You show more of respect. You don't go straight to the top. But in the Netherlands, there's a flat hierarchy. So everyone is in the same level. So it's very important to take that into account when you're looking within for any career in the Netherlands, that oftentimes within the working place, there is a flat hierarchy.
Yeah. So that is something to get used to. I think the countries we have in here, Nigeria, Morocco, Lithuania, it might all be different. How is the hierarchy in Lithuania, Emilia? Is it also flat, or do you really need to, if you're working with an older manager, do you have to take that into account when approaching them or when arranging a meeting? I'm just curious to see how that's arranged. Or Adam or Kelechi, can you also maybe respond to that? How is it arranged in your country? Okay, it is fine. You have to stay respectful. Okay. Well, of course, the same goes here, but what we hear many times from international students, that they even find the reaction from their Dutch colleagues, manager, a bit blunt, because we're very straightforward. We will tell you what we think. So it's not disrespectful, but it's, and Kelechi says, it's fine. Of course, you have to be respectful to your elders. Okay. For colleagues, it can be a mix. Okay. Well, interesting. And I think in the Netherlands, it's like very flat and very straightforward.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's go to the next statements. If you have an urgent question, you can approach a colleague, your manager, or teacher after working hours. What do you all think?
Majority for the yes.
And some no's as well. Well, the answer to this one is, if you have an urgent question, you can approach your colleague, your manager, teacher after working hours. The answer is no. The Dutch are very strict with their time. Like I said, also with time management, but also when they are off, they are really off. So that means it might be that they will put their work phone aside and will not respond to any messages at all. So even if you have an urgent question, it might be, it has to wait till the very next day before you will get an answer. Of course, when the situation is that urgent, a life and death situation, of course, it's completely different. But an urgent question like, hey, can I hand in my assignment a bit later? You will for sure have to wait until the next working day. Do you have experience with this?
Indeed. I think in the Netherlands, of course, like my colleague had said, that when it's time to go home, it's time to go home. But it also shows, the good part about that is that there's a perfect work-life balance. And I think it's very important to take that into account. Of course, I can speak for myself where I come from. We mostly focus on school, we focus on work. So we're always putting priority on that. But then in the Netherlands, the fact that there's a good work-life balance, that's the reason why trying to talk to a colleague after work, it's something that's best to be done the following day, unless, of course, if it's urgent.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's really urgent. But also our life, for instance, when my kids were still very, very young, they had to go to daycare. So I had to leave the office by 5, even if I was in a meeting, because daycare would close at 6 and they were very strict. I could not come 10 minutes late. So then it would be that if I was in this meeting and this meeting took a bit longer than I expected, I would say, guys, I'm very sorry, but I have to go because I have to pick up my kids from daycare. So also our whole life is built up around this. So also maybe within Saxion, it might be that the building closes on Fridays at 5:30. And even if you're in a meeting, they will say, sorry, you have to go because the building closes. And you cannot stick around for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because you still have to finish something. They will say, no, sorry, you have to go. You know, you knew this up front. The building closes and now it's time to go home. Also important for indeed what Mitchie says, your work-life balance. I think we are lucky enough to live in a country where we have quite a bit of free time, and then we like to spend it with our family and friends. So in the weekends, everybody goes out to sport or exercise or to do fun things, to work on your hobby or whatever. So I think also in the Netherlands, a lot of people do work part-time, not full-time. So it might be that they're working 4 days a week, 3 days a week, and the number of people working full-time is less than the people working part-time. Next statements. Interesting one. You can address your manager or teacher by its first name. So what do you think? Maybe it's an easy one. I think it always depends which nationalities are joining.
There's a balance between the two.
Okay. Well, the answer is yes, you can address the manager or teacher by its first name. It is very common. Of course, it can be the very first meeting you will have with your manager. It's the first day at work. Of course, you kind of have maybe an introduction meeting, and then he or she will immediately say, oh, you can call me Jan, you can call me Mitchie, you can call me Dio. No need to say Mr. or Mrs. and then the last name. Is it the same for teachers?
Yes, it's the same for teachers. I remember when I was doing my internship during my bachelor's study, and I referred to my supervisor, Mr., and he said, please do not call me Mr. because it makes me feel very different. It makes me feel older. So then that's when I realized, because in my home country, it's very respectful to actually say Mr., Mrs., or Sir, or Ma'am.
Yeah.
But in the Netherlands, it's really, really important and very normal to address a teacher or your work colleague or even your manager or boss by their name.
Yeah. And of course, I can imagine the very first time you meet them, I will also say Mr. and I would be very polite. And then immediately they will say, oh, you can call me Jan, you can call me Emilia. So very common in the Netherlands. Okay, let's go to, this is an interesting one. I always like this one. Okay, Dutch lunch break is minimum an hour. What do you all think? This picture always makes me smile.
Minimum an hour. We have majority for yes.
Okay. And unfortunately, the lunch break is less than an hour. It is like 30 minutes, I would say.
Yes.
And even when I'm in the office working here, it could even be that I sit behind my laptop and quickly shove in a slice of bread. Also, the meal you see in front of you with some nice burgers and fries and some nice coffees. This is not a typical lunch, Dutch lunch. of course, you can buy a variety of food in the Netherlands, but most common for Dutch people who are really Dutch is that they bring their own lunch from home. So they prepare it in the morning and take a little lunchbox with their lunch and take it to the office or wherever they're going to work. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes, it is. And
wish.
it's just a simple lunch, just a sandwich, of course. And you can, of course, it's up to you. For those who come from a collectivist culture, you're used to eating quite a lot during lunch, especially warm food. But in the Netherlands, it's very common to have a sandwich and, of course, to have a drink by the side, if necessary, tea or coffee for lunchtime. And it's very short to the point for 30 minutes.
Yeah. True. I wish, I like the Netherlands a lot, but the lunch break and the type of food we eat is, well, it's boring, I say. So I'm wondering, maybe you can share in the chat, what do you normally eat for lunch? Is it like a hot meal? Or is it something cold? And what's the time? When will you have lunch? Is it in the Netherlands? It's around 12:30. Is that the same in your country? I know in France they like to take a really, really long lunch break, and they might even grab a glass of wine with it. I wouldn't survive if I was living there. Okay, for Emilia, it's kind of the same.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, maybe it's the northern countries.
Okay.
Kelechi, I'm interested. How is it arranged in your country? Hot meals.
Yeah.
We need to visit you.
In Morocco.
Yeah. Kelechi, I'm interested in your country. Is it possible to share it in the chat as well? 12 noon.
Okay.
Heavy. Okay. And also skip breakfast. Okay. Yeah. I can imagine if you skip breakfast that you would like to have a heavy lunch.
Exactly. That's a good one.
How about a breakfast then?
Breakfast. I think it's like cereal. Something very simple like cereal or yogurt
maybe with some fruit.
Exactly.
Or a slice of bread. We are really, if you like bread, we are really a bread country. You can find a lot of different types of breads in the Netherlands.
Exactly.
And with different things on top. Okay, skip breakfast. Okay. But not all the time. Our breakfast is mostly light, like bread and tea and fruits and oats. Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's comparable in the Netherlands. And Adam, it says mostly hot meals. I'm interested to find out what does a hot meal consist of during lunchtime? So maybe you can share, is it something with
maybe
rice or
exactly. Yeah.
Or maybe some meat, some chicken. Chicken with meat, with onions, fries on the side. Wow.
We're getting hungry. Okay, that's really nice.
Really nice. Nice to hear.
Yeah, but it's also nice to see the difference in the culture as well. When it comes to lunch, something as simple as lunch.
True. So we bring our own, and we're very boring. Okay. Most people who eat heavy for breakfast do not eat again until evening. That makes sense as well. Well, maybe even in the evening. Of course, we have a lot of international people living in the Netherlands as well. So you can find different cuisines, kitchens in the Netherlands.
Exactly.
Couscous. Couscous is nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. We have that in the canteen as well. Couscous.
So perfect. We have that at Saxion.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, from food, let's go into the next statements. Oh, this was already the last one. Time is flying. which rule was most surprising for you? So, was it the one being late, sharing your opinion? If you could contact people after work hours, calling people by its first name, or the lunch break? We're interested to find out. So maybe you can share.
Majority say contact after work.
Oh, contact after work, but also being late,
And being
calling
late.
the first name.
Have the same.
Yeah,
thoughts.
it's the same. Indeed. I can imagine that contact after work is for a lot of people quite common to do. We know that in a lot of countries, sometimes you even go out with colleagues on a Friday, and even your boss might join. In the Netherlands, of course, we go out with colleagues, but it's more informal, kind of like, oh, shall we go into the city center and have a drink together? It's not on a regular base. It's just whenever we feel up for it.
Exactly.
So this was kind of the workplace culture presentation. Do you have maybe questions for us that we can answer? Maybe you're curious to find out other services, other topics. Can also be about studying in Saxion, because of course we're both working here and already for quite some time. So if you have, of course, you can share that in the chat.
In the chat, and we can try to help you.
Yeah.
Anything regarding your career or your study.
Yeah.
Yes, do let us know any questions that you have. And you feel free to also turn on your mic as well, instead of typing it. But then whatever question you have, we will try to share as much information as we can.
Yeah. And in the chat, I will also put, if you go to the saxion.edu website, you can also find some information about career services.
Correct.
So if you have any questions on that, you can also trace it back to the website.
Any questions that you might have.
Can be off topic as well, huh?
Exactly.
Whatever comes to mind. In the Netherlands, with regards to recruiting for jobs, does the employer pay much attention to backgrounds or skills as well as qualifications? What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you will look for positions within the Netherlands, you can always find vacancies, and they will describe what kind of person they're looking for with respect to skills and backgrounds and qualifications. 9 out of 10 times that is, of course, stated in a vacancy. Of course, if you're looking for a side job, like in a restaurant doing the dishes, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Of course, it might be that they're more focused on flexibility, like how flexible are you, or are you willing to work during the weekends or in the evening hours.
Exactly.
But if it's like a full-time job after you're done studying, yes, they look into the fact, like, okay, what background do you have? What skills do you have? Which qualifications do you have? Indeed.
And just to add on to my colleague's point, she had mentioned, for example, if you're working during your studies, for example, within a restaurant, I think it's very important for non-EU students to take into account that there's a limited amount of hours that you can work per week alongside your studies. So you can work a maximum of only 16 hours. Alongside your studies per week, and the company has to apply for you for the work permit. And also, Kelechi, I can imagine, for me, I don't know how it is in Nigeria, but maybe it's similar. In Zimbabwe, we take education quite seriously, so it's very common for people to have 2 masters or to go for a PhD. But in the Netherlands, you can get a job immediately after your bachelor's. They actually look at the internships and the jobs that, or part-time jobs that you did during your studies, which really also, I would say, enhances your chance of getting a job. So
True.
There's a possibility of getting a job after your studies. I think maybe 3-4 months. Of
Yeah.
course, depending on how often you look.
Yeah.
But indeed, they look at your experience and your skills
Yeah.
more as compared to your educational background.
True. True. Adam has a question as well. Is there an admission test or an interview to get into Saxion? I think this really depends on the program you are applying for. Some programs will have an interview, or for some programs you need to upload like a portfolio. For instance, for game technologies, you need to upload a portfolio. So it depends. It might depend per program.
Exactly.
So if you would like to know for sure, you can always check our website, saxion.edu, and then you can click on programs and you can make a selection. Say, okay, I'm
Yes.
looking into a bachelor program in the field of whatever, and then it comes up. And then when you click on that specific program, you can also see the requirements,
Exactly.
what they do. Ask you, if you need to have a certain English level,
Exactly.
if there is an English, or if there's an admission test, if you need to upload additional information. So that's good to check and double check.
And to prepare in advance.
Yes, as well.
Exactly.
Especially with a portfolio. You
Yes.
can imagine, in case you need to upload a portfolio, you need time to prepare this.
Exactly.
You cannot get that done within one day.
That's true.
Yeah. And also maybe for taking an English test as well. Kalachi asks, thank you for your response. How can international students get to deal with getting accommodation considering the shortage of housing? Well, I think the lucky thing is that we are in the eastern part of the country. So we're close to the German border, kind of in the middle of the Netherlands. And that means that on this side of the country, it's relatively still easy, between brackets, to find accommodation. Also from the side of International Office, we help students. We have an onboarding program, and this onboarding program starts, say, in March, April, and then we start hosting a lot of webinars with a lot of topics on housing, insurance, what it's like to study at Saxion, about well-being, and also housing is a part of that. So we do offer housing via Saxion, and we also give you information if you are not able to secure housing via Saxion, how to find housing by yourself. So we give you all kinds of tips and tricks.
Exactly.
During the whole application procedure, we will kind of stay in touch with you and see how things are getting on also with your housing. Michelle is just sharing the information on the onboarding program. So in the chat, you can find the link. So for the upcoming year, of course, you can already apply for Saxion, but all the information with respect to housing, insurance, all these webinars, they will start from March onwards for the new academic year.
Exactly. So like my colleague has said that also, Kelechi, because he asked, it applies to the onboarding program.
Yeah.
We start around April, May.
Yeah.
You just sign up and then you be connected to a current student studying in the Netherlands, and then they will guide you throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
But don't worry, normally in your first year you get housing. Of course, it's up to you if you apply for it.
Yeah.
And we will provide information in terms of looking for your own if you wish to do so. But we always say the earlier, the better. Always.
True, because I think the average searching time in the Netherlands
Yeah.
for a room is about 3 months.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, and the peak is always in, say, August, because that's when all students, all newcomers, but also the students that are already here, might have finished their first year, second year, are looking for housing as well. So that's when a lot of things are going on. So in the ideal situation, you start looking for housing, say, from April onwards. And basically you just need to be persistent. And I think this year we didn't have a lot of students that encountered problems. As long as they know and they're aware that it takes time before you can find a suitable place which fits within your budget. And of course we have possibilities within Saxion as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's good that you asked this question now, because we always try to make it very clear to students from the beginning. So do take this into account as an international student coming to the Netherlands to study at Saxion.
Yeah, but like this is in Saxion. If you're intending to study maybe in a different city in the Netherlands, the situation might be completely different.
Correct.
It all has to do that we're in this side of the country, which is still quite okay to find suitable accommodation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any other questions that you might have? Oh, can I still apply if my high school diploma won't be available until July? Of course, you can apply. That's no problem. And then you can already submit like all the information that is needed. And then you can also inform our international office who deals with all the applications that you're waiting for your diploma and it will only be available in July. So then they will give you a specific deadline before which date you have to submit your official diploma. And if you can meet that deadline, it's fine. So most probably you will get like an admission letter under condition, which says that you're still waiting for your diploma and that you need to upload that or submit that before a certain date. And then it's still fine. Yeah. Are there rooms for student jobs for international students within the university? What do you mean? Are there rooms for student jobs? Or do you mean, do we have student jobs available within the university? Is that what you mean, Kalechi?
I think so. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, student jobs. Can you maybe elaborate a bit on that?
Yes,
Of course, I can do as well.
We do have student jobs within the university.
Yeah.
But we also, in different departments as well, but we also try to provide information for students to find jobs around the university as well in the city, because there's so many companies that do look for students when working, for example, within the supermarkets or restaurants. So that's also something that you can also take into account. But yes, we do have student jobs within the university.
True, we have. I think you also started out, you had a student job as well during your studies.
Correct. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So there's a possibility. Maybe one piece of advice, try to learn some Dutch. In case you're interested in maybe studying in the Netherlands, taking a full bachelor or master. We do offer Dutch courses free of charge. And especially in case you're interested in staying maybe after you graduate or maybe a bit longer, then it's advisable, because Dutch is our mother tongue, and it would really help if you at least are able to say a few words in Dutch. I think you have that experience as well. Exactly. It really helps to integrate.
That's true. And we do have Dutch courses within Saxion as well for bachelor students during their studies as well, which is free of charge from A1, and then you move next to the A2. So that's an opportunity that you can take as a student when studying in the Netherlands, especially within Saxion. So yes, we do have student jobs within Saxion, but we also guide students afterwards as well. Yes.
Okay, yes, you're welcome. Any other questions? We still have 2 minutes before the session ends. I'm not sure if it will automatically kick us out, because this is a new platform we're working with.
Exactly. But
so,
please,
any questions, please put in the chat.
Correct. Okay.
And if not, then I think we would like to thank you all for joining this session. Oh, Emilia, how do I get to reach you guys to ask more questions? Okay.
Just trying to quickly.
Oh, hold on.
What is my chat? Yes, so we look for the contact details.
Yeah, we can share different contact details. We have international office, we have career services, so it depends a bit. We do, maybe international office is the one we can.
So this is the link.
Will you share the link?
And then I'll do the career services as well.
Yeah.
So that you can have Both.
Emilia still has a question. Sorry, I didn't notice because it kind of popped up at the same time. Are grading requirements in diploma strict? Not really. As long as you have finished your high school diploma, it's fine. It could be that in case you apply for a scholarship, that the gradings are more strict, that you need to have reached a certain GPA. But to make sure, just double check the requirements for each program or the programs you're interested in. It's always wise to do. But in general, as long as you have finished your high school and have your diploma and can upload the grade list, that's fine. But maybe for other things like applying for a scholarship, it could make a difference.
Exactly. So we've sent you the first link to the website of the International Office page for the contact details. That's where you can ask all the questions. But if you want questions specifically regarding your career, opportunities, advice on coaching and everything, the second link is to the career services as well. Then you'll find more information.
True. And then since you have been part of this Digital Discovery Day, maybe it is wise that you refer to us. Like, okay, I met you during the Digital Discovery Day. In case you have questions, then it automatically pops up in our mailbox.
Correct. Yes.
Let's see. Can I get connected to the international students doing MSc in Applied Nanotechnology? I think maybe the Going app might be wise for that.
Okay.
Although it might not be it might not be possible to join it now, but maybe later.
But I'll just look for the study masters of
Applied Nanotechnology.
Okay.
Maybe what is wise to do is maybe to connect to that program. And then maybe the lecturers or whoever's in charge of the program will connect you to maybe some of the students that are currently in the program. Yeah. Kletchi Michi just shared the link, the direct link to Applied Nanotechnology.
And the Going?
And maybe the Going, we have a platform called Going. And this is like to connect students with each other. It might also be maybe a possibility that you join this platform and log in with the code from Saxion and then see what type of groups are there. Maybe there is a group there about nanotechnology. I'm not sure, but you can also reach out via that platform. So the link to that is also mentioned in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Because otherwise, I think it's almost time to say goodbye to you all. I hope you. All right. Thank you. I've already started my application. Perfect. Then hopefully we'll be able to meet each other somewhere in August next year. It would be nice. If nobody has any questions, then we would like to thank you for joining this session. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight on our culture, the workplace culture or the study culture. We shared our contact details, so in case you still have questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and hopefully we will see each other in person next year.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for joining.
Bye-bye. Tot ziens.
Doei.
Doei doei.